Imagine this. You're talking to a guy. Everything seems to be going great, and then, boom, he pulls away. He takes hours to reply, cancels plans at the last minute, or acts distant just when you thought things were getting serious. You start wondering, is he losing interest or is he just playing hard to get? And most importantly, why do men do this? By the end of this video, you will not only understand the hidden psychology behind this behavior, but also how to turn the game around in your favor. And trust me, the last point is the most powerful of them all. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you see dating and relationships. Before we dive in, take a second to subscribe to Female Red Pill. If you've ever been confused by mixed signals or frustrated by men who act hot and cold, this channel is exactly what you need. Like this video, drop a comment below, and share it with your friends, because today we're exposing the truth about men who make themselves hard to get. Now, let's get into it. The idea that men should play hard to get is not new. It's deeply rooted in both biological and social dynamics. To truly understand this, we need to step into the world of red pill critical analysis, a perspective that challenges mainstream dating narratives and exposes the real strategies men use in relationships. One of the biggest mistakes women make is assuming that when a man is distant, it automatically means he's not interested. But here's the truth. Many men deliberately pull away on purpose to create a sense of scarcity. This is a technique rooted in evolutionary psychology. Studies from renowned researchers like David Buss in his book The Evolution of Desire show that men who appear less available are often perceived as more valuable. This is because scarcity creates demand, just like in economics. Think about it. If a guy is too eager, too available, or constantly chasing, it can make him seem desperate, and desperation lowers perceived status. So, some men use distance as a way to increase their perceived value in your eyes. But here's where it gets even deeper. Many of these men have learned this tactic from red pill ideology, which teaches men that women are most attracted to challenge and uncertainty. In The Rational Male, Rollo Tomassi explains that unpredictability creates an emotional roller coaster, and that roller coaster is what fuels attraction. When a man is inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, your brain releases dopamine in response to the highs and lows, making you even more hooked on him. Now, let's talk about the first clear sign that he's playing hard to get. Inconsistent communication. One day he's all over you, texting first, engaging in deep conversations, making you feel special. The next, he's nowhere to be found. Hours or even days go by with no response. Then, just when you start losing interest, he comes back again, acting like nothing happened. This isn't random. It's a psychological manipulation technique called intermittent reinforcement. Psychologists have proven that when rewards are unpredictable, they become more addictive. Casinos use this strategy with slot machines, and some men use it in dating. Ask yourself, does he always disappear after an intense moment of connection? Does he make you feel special only to vanish the next day? If so, he's not just busy, he's creating an illusion of value. But there's more. The second sign is strategic delays in responses. Have you ever noticed how some men wait hours, sometimes even a whole day, to reply even though you know they saw your message? That's not accidental. It's a calculated move. Men who understand dating psychology know that responding too quickly can lower their perceived value, so they delay their responses to create tension. In the mystery method, Erich von Markovic, one of the pioneers of modern dating strategies, explains that men should always wait before replying to a woman to avoid looking too available. This is a classic tactic used in pickup artist culture, and many men apply it without even realizing it. But here's where you turn the tables. If a man is using this tactic on you, the worst thing you can do is react emotionally. Don't double text. Don't ask why he's taking so long. Instead, mirror his behavior. Respond on your own time. Show that you're just as unavailable as he is. This disrupts the game and forces him to chase you. And this leads us to the third sign. He's always in control of when you see each other. Does he set the pace of your interactions? Does he only make plans when it's convenient for him? If you feel like you're always waiting for him to decide when to see you, that's a major red flag. It's another way men create a sense of scarcity. In No More Mr. Nice Guy, Dr. Robert Glover explains that high-value men naturally have options so they don't chase. But some men pretend to be high-value by making themselves seem unavailable, even when they're not. The key is to recognize the difference between genuine busyness and manufactured scarcity. So what do you do in this situation? You stop waiting. You make your own plans. You show him that your time is just as valuable as his. But these are just the first 3 signs. The next ones are even more revealing, and the final one is the most powerful of all. If you're finding this eye-opening so far, drop a comment below and let me know. Have you ever dealt with a guy who played hard to get? What did you do? Now, let's continue uncovering the truth. Now that you recognize the first 3 signs, let's go even deeper. Because what I'm about to reveal next will completely shift the way you see men who play hard to get. The 4th sign that he's making himself difficult on purpose is he only gives you just enough to keep you interested. Think about it. Does he ever give you a full emotional commitment? Or does he only sprinkle in just enough attention to keep you hooked? Maybe he texts you just when you start pulling away. Maybe he finally opens up to you after ignoring you for days. This is not a coincidence, it's a strategy. Men who understand the power of selective attention know that giving you just enough makes them seem like a rare prize. This concept is backed by behavioral psychology and has been studied in depth. In Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products, Nir Eyal explains how unpredictability makes people more obsessed with a reward. And in dating, the reward is his attention. But here's the truth. A man who truly values you won't make you question where you stand. He won't ration his affection like it's some kind of luxury item you have to earn. So if you feel like you're always on the edge, never quite sure if he's fully in or out, he's deliberately keeping you in that state. And that leads us straight into the 5th sign. He gives you mixed signals on purpose. One moment he flirts with you intensely, compliments you, acts like you're the only woman in the world. The next, he's cold and distant, as if none of it ever happened. Sound familiar? This is called push-pull dynamics. In The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene explains that the most powerful seducers always keep their targets in a constant state of emotional tension. By switching between warmth and distance, they make you crave their validation even more. And guess what? Some men don't just naturally act this way. They learn to do this to maintain power in relationships. If you've ever felt like a man was leading you on just to pull away at the worst moment, it's not because he's confused. It's because he wants you to stay emotionally invested while he remains in control. And that brings us to the 6th sign. He makes you feel like you're the one chasing him. This is a classic move in red pill dating strategy. In The Rational Male, Rollo Tomassi explains that men should always position themselves as the prize in a relationship. That means making the woman feel like she's the one pursuing him, even if he was the one who initiated the connection in the first place. How does he do this? By withdrawing his attention at key moments, by making you work for his time, by creating the illusion that he's busier, more desirable, or harder to get than he really is. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you the one always trying to make plans? Are you the one checking in first? Are you the one waiting for him to decide where things are going? If so, he's successfully shifted the power dynamic in his favor. But the biggest twist? Men don't just do this for fun. There's a much deeper reason behind this behavior, one that most women don't realize. And in the next part, we'll expose the ultimate reason why men make themselves hard to get, and how you can completely flip the script on them. Before we move on, let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt like a guy was making you chase him? What was the biggest red flag you noticed? Now let's get into the real reason behind this game. At this point, you've seen all the signs. The strategic distance, the inconsistent attention, the push-pull game. But now comes the most important question. Why do men do this? The truth is, this behavior isn't just about attraction, it's about power. The 7th sign that he's playing hard to get is he's testing your emotional investment. Men who understand dating psychology know that women are more attracted to men who appear high value. And how does a man signal high value? By making a woman prove her value first. Dr. Robert Glover, in No More Mr. Nice Guy, explains that many men have been conditioned to believe that the person who cares less in a relationship has more control. So, they pull away to see if you'll chase. They delay their replies to see if you'll double text. They ignore your plans to see if you'll still be available later. This is called an investment test, and it's designed to measure how much effort you're willing to put in. But here's where things get interesting, because this isn't just about him. It's about you too. Psychological studies show that the more effort someone puts into something, the more they tend to value it. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. If you've already spent time and energy trying to win someone over, you're more likely to keep investing, even if it's not good for you. And guess what? Some men understand this perfectly. That's why they make you work for their attention. Because if you're putting in the effort, your brain starts justifying it. Maybe he's just busy. Maybe he really likes me but doesn't want to seem too eager. And before you know it, you're the one stuck chasing, while he barely lifts a finger. But here's the key. High-value men don't need to play these games. A man who truly wants you won't make you question where you stand. Which brings us to the 8th sign. He keeps other options open, but expects you to stay loyal. Have you ever noticed how some men avoid labeling the relationship? How they keep things in a gray area, just close enough to keep you emotionally attached, but never clear enough to give you security. This is intentional. By avoiding exclusivity, he keeps the illusion of scarcity alive. He makes you feel like he's in high demand, like he could be with other women if he wanted to. And that uncertainty makes him even more desirable in your mind. Red pill philosophy teaches men that women are most attracted to men who appear to have options. In The Rational Male, Rollo Tomassi calls this preselection, the idea that a man who is wanted by other women automatically becomes more attractive. So, some men make themselves seem just unavailable enough to trigger this effect. They'll mention female friends, subtly reference past relationships, or even casually bring up other women who are interested in them. Why? Because it keeps you in competition mode. It makes you want to prove that you're the one he should choose. But the real question is he putting in the same effort for you? Because if he's expecting exclusivity from you while keeping his own options open, then he's not looking for a real connection. He's just playing a game. And that leads us to the 9th and most powerful sign. He disappears just when you start pulling away. This is the ultimate move. If a man is truly not interested, he'll let the connection fade without resistance. But if he's playing hard to get on purpose, he will always come back when he senses that you're detaching. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop texting first, he suddenly shows up? That after ignoring you for days, he randomly sends a "Hey stranger" message? That just when you start to move on, he pulls you back in with some deep emotional conversation? This is called hoovering, a manipulation tactic used to suck you back into the dynamic just when you're about to escape. Men who do this aren't interested in commitment. They're interested in control. They want to keep you in a state of emotional uncertainty because that's where they have the most power. But here's the twist. The moment you stop playing their game, they lose all control. And in the final part, I'm going to show you exactly how to flip the script, how to make him chase you instead. Before we continue, comment below. Have you ever had a guy come back right when you were about to move on? What did he say? Now let's wrap this up with the most powerful shift you can make. Now that you know all the signs, it's time to flip the script. Because the truth is, the moment you stop playing his game, the power shifts entirely to you. So, how do you do it? The first step is recognizing your own value. Men who play hard to get thrive on one thing, your belief that their attention is rare and valuable. But here's the reality. It's not. True high-value men don't need to manufacture scarcity. They don't need to create emotional confusion to keep a woman interested. If a man is deliberately making you chase him, it's not because he's above you. It's because he needs to maintain that illusion to feel in control. So instead of reacting to his games, take a step back. Ask yourself, what does he actually bring to the table? Because if the answer is uncertainty, confusion, and frustration, then why are you investing in him at all? And that leads us to the second step. Stop rewarding inconsistent behavior. Every time you chase a man who's pulling away, you teach him that his strategy works. Every time you text first after he's ignored you, every time you adjust your schedule to fit his convenience, every time you excuse his inconsistency, you reinforce his belief that he can play hard to get and still keep you hooked. But the moment you stop responding to half efforts, the game collapses. So, if he pulls away, let him. If he takes hours or days to reply, take longer. If he's hot and cold, don't chase warmth. Walk away from the cold. Because the only way to win this game is by refusing to play it. Which brings us to the third step. Shift your focus back to yourself. Women who don't chase men don't do so because they're playing a counter game. They do it because they are genuinely busy living their best lives. And this is the most attractive thing you can do. Think about it. What happens when you stop prioritizing a man who plays hard to get? You naturally start prioritizing yourself, your goals, your passions, your friendships, and suddenly, your time becomes the rare and valuable thing, not his attention. And do you know what happens then? Men who were once playing games suddenly start to realize that you're not like the others, that you won't waste your energy chasing, that if they want a place in your life, they'll have to step up. And for the men who won't step up, let them go. Because a man who wants to win you over will never put you in a position where you have to win him. Now, let me ask you, have you ever walked away from a man who was playing games? What happened when you did? Comment below. I want to hear your story. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to subscribe to Female Red Pill, hit the like button, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. If you're ready to take full control of your dating life, I have 2 more videos on the screen right now. Watch them to learn the next steps in understanding male psychology and making sure you are the one in control. See you in the next video.